Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Presented by Central Bank of the Ozarks, Doak Propane, Shelter Insurance Agent Grant Baker and Aurora, the Bank of Billings, Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, and Great Southern Bank. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. Continuing on with our high school game day basketball previews, we go to Greenwood High School and welcome Greenwood High School girls basketball coach Mike Percival to the show. And Coach Percival, thanks so much for your time.
No problem.
Coach, you guys about 500, last year in a limited. I think you played 18 games as far as what I could find a year ago, right around that 500 mark. Talk about the kids you got coming back into the program and what you've got to replace that you lost to graduation.
Okay, well, we lost one player to graduation, Keely Roberts, and she's moved on. I believe she's going to school at Western Kentucky. And for the most part, that core group is coming back. But we did lose a couple of our juniors that we had hoped would be back. Bella Stuckey had tore her ACL 7 seconds into last year, and they have since moved on to Texas. So, and then the McKinley McCall had been, they actually had their injuries the same day. McKinley was at Kickapoo, and after her injury, she transferred back here. So she was out, but it doesn't look like she's going to make it back either. She's had a more serious injury, and I think the surgeons have told her might not be optimistic for playing basketball. So those are two that we were counting on that won't be here any longer. But we've got a couple of seniors and some sophomores and a couple of juniors that coming back. I've got about 6 coming back that have quite a bit of experience. And then we've got a lot of inexperience coming behind them.
Coach, talk a little bit about those just individually that you've got coming back that have maybe had some varsity time and maybe who you're going to look at to maybe step in and give some varsity time to this year.
Well, our leading scorer last year was Hannah Gibbons, and she'll be a sophomore this year. And her running buddy, Cammie Parker, played the point. So those will be 2 people that will depend on a lot to bring some scoring to us. Blair Brown is a senior, and Rachel Pinniger. Those are both our returning seniors, and they'll give us a lot of backbone there because of their experience that they've had. We also have Tess Fowler and Rylan Anderson, who are juniors, and they've felt what it's like to be on a varsity floor. So we're going to depend on those 6 a lot. And then we've got a lot of young kids that maybe haven't played in the last couple of years or haven't played at all ever. So we'll have a lot of experience at the bottom of our lineup.
Coach, your schedule, any changes to what it's been over the past couple of years? Have you added a tournament? Have you added games, maybe even outside the area? Or, what's your schedule like just overall?
It's changed a few times, but just with singular games, our tournaments they'll be the same. Of course, our big one is the pink and white that we host with Springfield Public Schools there over Christmas. But we're going to wind up and open the season up. We did add Parkview, so we will play Parkview here at Greenwood on that Monday before Thanksgiving, and that's a new addition. And then we'll head to Crane for the Crane tournament and start getting well into our season at that point.
Speaking of new additions, you guys comfortable in your new home there in the new gymnasium? It's a fantastic facility. Well, what's that meant to both programs there at Greenwood?
Oh, it's meant the world. It's a great facility, like you said. It's a lot more room, a lot more comfortable. We have some upgrades as far as things for the fans, the scoreboards, and we've got a digital video board and things like that. And it's really just kind of put a little bit of life in the program and help kids be motivated to participate one way or another. Sometimes they may not play basketball, but they'll also cheer or be in the pep club for the ball games. So it's kind of a family atmosphere around here at Greenwood, and it's really been something special for us.
Coach, what are the numbers like? What are your expectations here as you go forward? With just total numbers program wide, and are they up or down, or what do those look like?
For us on the girls' side, they're going to be about the same. We usually sit around 10, give or take. And of course, we've got a couple that are injured of the ones that we're expecting to be playing. But that's usually where we sit right around there, 10 or 12. So for the girls, We've started a lot of the youth programs, start to keep them a little busier and hopefully build some interest. The guys still have good solid numbers, so they're looking at varsity JV games every night, and they'll be fun to watch again. Ball's going to move quite a bit, I think, and be fun for the fans.
And coach, as you look at your coaching staff, it's always, kind of, I know you've had some coaches in there that, part of your coaching tree that maybe have moved on, but who's coming back and helping you out here on the girls' side this year?
This year, I'll still have the same assistant. It'll be Lucas Burt. He's actually doing his student teaching now here under me. So we have him, and that's been a good solid fit for us. This is his second year there. We've also let his dad come on. His dad brings a lot of years experience from Rogersville, Hollister, Galena, so on. So we've got that bunch together. On the boys' side, the staff's still the same. It's Darren Taylor with Joe Black as his assistant. So, we have a lot of turnover in the younger positions, but a lot of the time the other positions stay pretty solid and consistent.
And Coach, correct me if I'm wrong. What conference are you in? Are you part of a conference?
No, we're independent.
Right. And what are the challenges there with scheduling? I know you play a lot of, like you mentioned the Crane tournament. You've got Galena, I believe, on your schedule, and a lot of those teams out of that conference. But does that pose some challenges there to the scheduling?
It does a little bit more so when we get later in the year. If we've had some cancellations and stuff, we'll run into some teams that have to make up conference games and things like that. But as far as picking up games, it's not usually been that big a deal for us.
Once again, here on Missouri Sports Network, high school game day basketball preview, visiting with Greenwood girls basketball coach Mike Percival. And Coach Percival, for the viewers, listeners, you might just kind of fill in a little bit of your background. I know we go way. I did my student teaching at Fairplay when you were there. You might go back and just kind of fill the folks in on your background and how you ended up at Greenwood.
Well, I actually started here at Greenwood. I did a graduate assistantship back in, I'm going to date myself pretty good here, but back to 88 to 90. So I was here for 2 years. I experienced the end of the Atwood era and the beginning of the Fisher era. So that was quite a connection there. But spent some years at 4 years at Stoutland, 3 years at Fairplay, which is where we ran into each other. And then wound up total. I was at Hartville twice. Spent 17 years total there. And then had a 4-year stint at Willard, a 1-year stint at Sparta. And here I sit at Greenwood. So.
And you mentioned that just that coaching tree coming from Coach Atwood and even Coach Fisher, you can point around the area at guys that, whether they're at Skyline or whether John Schaefer at Rogersville, and just guys around the state that kind of started there. You still keep in contact with that tree a little bit?
Some of them we do. I mean, it may not be regularly, but we run into them, or we'll see them at a coaching clinic or something, something that Misha has going on. And that's always fun. I mean, to be entertained, you need to get Mark Fisher and Todd Mercer together. That'll really entertain a person.
I tell you what, played a lot of cards with Coach Mercer back in the day, but
did he cheat?
No. Todd would never, ever ever do anything like that. But Coach, when you look at your coaching style, who kind of influenced you the most? Was it, a former high school coach? Was it that time you spent with Atwood and Coach Fisher, or where do your influences come from?
Well, it's just kind of a combination of people. Of course, I spent a year managing for the Bears basketball over there with Charlie Spoonhauer, so that was a huge influence. And then with Atwood and Fisher, there's two completely different personalities that have a history of success in basketball. Got a lot from Steve Hunter when I was at Hartville those first 2 years before he moved on. And I've over the years, a lot of faxes. I pull out faxes here and show them to Darren Taylor over here and say, you remember sending this to me? And it just catches him off guard. But I've had a lot of quality coaches that I've had the luxury of being around and just picking up odds and ends here and there.
Well, it's always, you've always been a joy to visit with. And even those times where I spent just doing, went from you to Dan Stander that year when I was doing my student teaching, went from Fairplay as a field-based student to Greenfield when Coach Stander was at Greenfield, and he's still in it as well. But always good to catch up, and look forward to this season getting to see. Hopefully we'll get back into the the tip-off club and court talk, which is the women's side of the tip-off club, and always look forward to those breakfasts for the pink and white, and then the blue and gold. Those are always great, and my dad won't miss those. I mean, have free food, and scoreboard guy's father will travel. I think I lost. Did you freeze up on me? Well, anyway, we've been visiting with Greenwood head girls basketball coach Mike Percival here at the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, powered by KICK 92.3 radio and presented by Central Bank of the Ozarks. We appreciate you. Just keep it right here